Welcome to Not Just Any Book Club, the show where two grown men talk about a Disney film that you've never really thought about since you first saw it when you were 4 on a VHS tape. I'm Justin. I'm ready to talk about Oliver and Company for Dickens month, or Dickensian month, whatever.
I'm Pierce. I'm also here and ready to talk about this movie.
Oliver and Company. Have you ever heard of it? I don't know, but you've no doubt heard the song that I think you may have heard the song. I don't know how old you are, but I've definitely heard the song. Why should I worry? That's really all I remember.
Why should I worry?
After that movie, just tune out.
That's all you're gonna get. That's all you're gonna get from me.
I think this is the first time I've heard Pierce sing. Oh wait, no, it's not definitely not the first time, but
we've literally played Rock Band together. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, we have. Well, yeah. Well, that's all you guys are gonna get. Oliver and Company. It's a very, very, very loose adaptation of Oliver Twist, and
yes,
I've never read it, so we're focusing solely on the movie, not focusing on the merits.
And neither of us picked it for next week, so
yes, yeah, that as well. And of course, I've never seen the musical. All I know about it is the little orphan boy going, "Can I please have some more, sir?" Or whatever, with a pudding cup, porridge cup, whatever it is. I don't know. And now, after watching this movie, I'm like, I don't plan on seeing it ever. So thanks, Oliver and Company.
Yeah. Justin apparently hated a Disney movie.
Well, to be fair, when
Justin's an Oliver and Company hater, is what I'm hearing.
I have yet to see an Oliver and Company liker. Well, I mean, you're here. You probably thought it was subpar.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you a message that was basically like, yeah, if I watched into a theater and paid money for like a movie theater to watch this, I would have been disappointed. But it's fine as like a movie to just like put on, like a VHS or in the old days, or like now, just like you see it on Disney Plus. Oh, it's an hour, you know. It's not.
There are definitely worse ways to spend an hour of your time, but it's definitely not the most fulfilling because Avatar episodes, they're 20 minutes long and they're full of great stuff. Show your kids that instead. Well, you know, maybe not the same audience, but you know what I mean. This movie's boring. Hey,
here's my opinion, okay? The first 20 minutes is actually great. It's actually very good.
Great is
great.
Okay. Well, the thing is...
all the way to Why Should I Worry is, if you won't say great, very good, okay? After Why Should I Worry...
Okay.
Probably, it feels like the wind's out of the sails a little bit as soon as Why Should I Worry is over.
Okay.
But I think it's still pretty good until after we first meet the like cigar smoking boss guy. And then after that, the wind is taken out of the sails more, and the middle is and then I liked the end also, like the last like 10 or so minutes.
We should go a little bit in order here, but
yeah, but I didn't say anything about what actually happens in those sections. I just gave sections and how I was feeling during them.
Well, not much really happens.
Well, yeah, it's an hour, and they tried to condense a like 500-page novel into an hour-long movie. So,
and they really didn't do a great job. Anyway, okay,
I don't think you could do a really great job.
Okay,
with that,
but hold
honestly.
on. I have a problem with that first sentence. The opening song. Do you remember the opening song?
Yes, I remember the opening song. I don't think it sucked. I thought it was called "Once Upon a Time in New York City." I thought it was okay.
I was like, oh, I forgot about that part because I did watch this before a long time ago when I was really, really young. I remember really hating that song. I'm like,
really? Because I actually didn't like pretty much any song after Why Should I Worry.
Okay. Well, there were
Yeah.
yeah, that's really generally apparently the second favorite song, according to some critics, is the what is it? The very funny song, the quote unquote very funny song with the girl, the female dog looking herself in the mirror
Oh,
and going,
Perfect Isn't Easy. That song was awful. That was
"Yeah, it
garbage.
was really bad. I don't know
I
what people are
really
talking
hated
about.
that
I
song.
hated that too.
Yeah. It was like annoying. It was like why do I
Yeah,
care about this character being egocentric? I just met them. They're not being
and
set up to be like a villain or anything. Just like they're just here. Like I don't know.
yeah. Again, we're not gonna analyze this too deeply because it's an hour and 13 minutes long and none of it's very good. Because my main problem with the movie is just like Oliver is just not an interesting character at all. At the very beginning, the opening song is like, "Oh, look at this sad little kitty," and it just decides to like show the kitty, um, like being like essentially just ignored by everybody. So kind of a downer beginning, and then just just like in a way that's almost Kafka-esque, just shows him
My
getting
God.
pummeled
So
by. We should also
bye.
define by just life. It starts
Yeah.
raining, and now he's an orphan.
So here's what I'll say about this: is I read a bit of an article about like comparing the two movies, or the book and the movie. Or I guess if you wanted to do an Oliver Twist movie, you could say the two movies. Anyways, Oliver Twist, basically Oliver and Company really condenses the beginning. Like the beginning of the book is just like things are bad for Oliver, basically.
Mm,
Like stuff goes down and it's not good for him. Um, and then he meets the gang quite a bit late. Like Cat Oliver meets the gang pretty early. It's like 5 minutes in, and he's meeting the dog.
yeah, the
Um,
Billy Joel
it
dog.
Yeah, the Billy Joel dog, furry Billy Joel. Um, but in the book, apparently that's not like it wouldn't be the first like 5 minute or whatever equivalent amount of the book.
Well, it definitely shows because this movie is essentially just on fast forward, going from plot to plot, no, to beat, not even slowing down, and just yeah, because Oliver has basically nothing to work with because no character in this movie has really any character development aside from like the one scene where they're all together with Fagin. Other than that, it speeds up and no one is giving any time to shine. All the characters are just archetypes. Not even like they're just gimmicks because we got the really problematic dog that is
Well,
definitely based
which
on a
one?
stereotype.
The Chihuahua.
Yeah.
I would say okay. Here, I mean, listen. If
Could
a
be like
Hispanic person, right. If a Hispanic person wants to correct me, that's fine. Go ahead. I'll retract this. But like, I feel like it's within the like Speedy Gonzalez realm. You know,
okay.
like Mexican people love Speedy Gonzalez. They were
Yes.
upset when Warner Brothers was going to take him away. I feel like it's within that same like archetype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um except he was kind of my least favorite character in the movie, so who knows?
I Yeah, I thought he
Yeah.
was okay.
Um yeah. The character probably wouldn't fly ish today if it was being made now.
Right now, no.
Well, but whatever. It's a character that tries to hit on that what was that female dog name? Rita, was that the girl dog's name? Yeah,
I think that was the
Georgette,
yeah, Georgette.
Georgette. Yeah. Um.
Rita was the one in the gang
Yeah.
already.
I cannot discern any of these characters.
Okay, so here's what I will say about your complaint about archetypes. Um, I think that is obviously partially the runtime's fault. Like
Yes.
that's obvious. However, I do think it's also quite Dickensian, if you will. From what I read,
Okay.
because Dickens apparently is very like a lot of his characters are very black and white, good or bad. Like he doesn't use a lot of like there's not a lot of gray for his characters. And you can kind of see it. I mean, like I can already see it in Great Expectations. Pip from the time that he's like the main character in Great Expectations, from the time that he's like very young is like speaking in he's still a child and it's like shown that he's kind of childish, but he's also like writing in like long-winded very complex sentences. There's no like
verbose.
he's very verbose. And then he goes into the city. I read this chapter I think around the time I watched the movie. He goes into the city and he talks about how he goes like on a like a sailboat thing with like some people that he met in London, and he was like, "Oh, I'm very good, or I'm very adept at some skills that you might not think for like a rural boy." So like, you know, Pip is being set up to be this like great. He's good at everything, right? Everything that he's going to do in the book, he's going to be really good at because he is the main character and he is good. So like to kind of fall into that archetype, I feel like is kind of fall into an archetype and just follow through on that is Dickensian in a way. I also do think that there at least was some character development for Dodger, the leader of the gang.
The Billy Joel dog.
Billy Joel dog. Yep. He learned something to be more accepting of people or something. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
That he was a bad person for like or bad dog, I guess, for
I think it was prejudiced or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember either. Don't worry.
I don't remember. I haven't actually put much thought into what the exact lesson is, but for
It's
children,
somewhere.
he was mean to Oliver, and that was bad. And he learned that it was bad.
Yeah, Billy Joel sure is cool. So apparently this was one of the first films, or I think maybe the first film, at least in the Disney canon, to make sure to like advertise that the celebrity is doing voice acting and just really make sure that you know that Billy Joel is one of the leads in this film. And really that also I think maybe works to its detriment because it's using celebrity casting to supplement any kind of personality. Because Dodger, he's just Billy Joel dog and it's really cool. And apparently they kind of aimed this movie towards parents in a way because, you know, they wanted to keep the parents entertained to watch this really boring movie by saying, "Hey, here's Billy Joel." And I don't know, I think this is like at the peak of his at the celebrity status, I guess. I don't know. I think this was like a year before We Didn't Start the Fire. So yeah. There's not much depth there, and I don't think Billy Joel can act really well. This was his first and last acting role where he's played anybody but himself. So it kind of shows because every line he says is just very bland and or not much expression. So the lesson I learned from this is just like that Billy Joel's not a good actor.
I thought he was fine, basically. That's my review of the movie.
It
was fine. It's put it on for children. It's an hour. It's whatever. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was boring. Necessary. Some parts were, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think the main problem with the movie is just it feels very like probably in between everything from probably the scene where the guy falls off the dock after like being given 3 days up until I actually kind of liked the sequence where Oliver was like in the rich person's house.
Is it, I mean, like the song that they played?
Not the song.
No,
I liked the montage. I like the montage. I thought
See,
the montage was
yeah,
cute. Um,
not the song though. The song, I think that might be my least favorite. It's just like the kid actor. No offense, didn't do a very good job of singing.
but I thought the montage was nice. But so everywhere from when the guy falls off the dock up until the montage, and then probably from the montage until after Oliver is like saved by the gang.
Mm.
Um, all of that to me was like meh. Like it felt like there was less care put into it. Maybe I don't. I like that's a hard thing for me to really say. Like it just really kind of fell off the track for me after Why Should I Worry for a while there, and they
The
didn't put it
peak
back
at the
on.
beginning. It,
Yeah,
yeah. And honestly, I've heard the song so many times, it does not really make an impact on me. So, what do you know? Well, this movie basically was nothing to. What is your favorite Billy Joel song, by the way?
I don't know a lot of Billy Joel. I have to look up this. I know I have one, and I cannot remember the name of it.
He's gonna say
So
Piano Man. I
I'm
bet
not
he
gonna.
is.
I know what. I know the name of Piano Man.
Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is mine. In my
Oh my god,
opinion.
Uptown Girl is a classic. I wasn't thinking of that one, but just like that is a classic. What a classic song. God, Piano Man came out in 1973. Nuts. He was really popular for like 2 decades straight because We Didn't Start the Fire
And
came out in 1989.
yeah. And all he does now is just play at Madison Square Garden. That's all he does.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he's made a new song. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna play Madison Square Garden, sell out every single time. So
God, I actually don't know because I see Only the Good Die Young. I really like. You May Be Right is very good. I don't know. I haven't listened to enough Billy Joel. I don't think to like really pick out because I mean I've listened to enough to like recognize most of these songs, but not enough to like have a favorite. I guess.
I was just saying that out of curiosity. I mean, if you have the time, scenes from Italian
Listen to more.
Restaurant.
I've
Yeah,
heard scenes from Italian Restaurant before, but I think only like once or twice. I don't really remember it.
it's a good song. Um, but yeah, a lot of his other songs, especially songs from the album The Stranger, a lot better than this one. It just sounds very poppy. And after, I mean, it is the best song in the movie, but it's not a song that I'll go home and start humming. Maybe initially when I first listened to it, I was like, yeah, the song's good. But I heard that outside of the movie, and then now going back, just looking retroactively, like, just take it or leave it,
After I
whatever.
finished the movie, Emma started getting annoyed because I kept singing just like the first line of the chorus over and over again.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it made an impact on someone.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's one takeaway from the movie. There's one good song, and the rest of it was
I I think that there's enough here to make this worthy of like a watch. One
a watch,
watch. Yeah.
not a
It is
must
it is
watch.
it is a movie in Disney history. And if you are a person who enjoys Disney movies, give it a watch. Show it
How
to your
has this helped
kids.
you understand Dickens? Really? Like,
I will say some of the comparison has helped me to Oliver Twist, which I haven't read, but reading the comparison has I think helped me see some of the stuff, like the thing that I said about Pip being so good at everything. Like he's the good
mm,
guy, he's the main character,
okay,
he is good, so
Oliver.
he is
There's
good at
nothing to
stuff.
Oliver. Oh, at least in this version, he's just
Yeah,
there.
that's definitely the fault of the movie. But he's also like a kitten. I feel
I don't
like
know. I think he should show some personality because he's the star of the movie, and then
I
the
don't
Billy
know.
Joel dog is just like has more personality. He's barely in it. Well, not barely in it. He's not in it enough for him to be a
Well,
star
okay.
role.
So here's the thing. If the movie was longer, I agree. But from what I read about Oliver Twist is that the thing that they specifically pulled out for this Oliver is that all he wants is to be loved and have a family. And that is true apparently from what I've heard of Oliver Twist. Like the character in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So for an hour movie to just pull that one aspect out and focus on it for that one character, I think is actually fine, especially because I would say in this movie the gang, like you have like an ensemble. You don't really have a singular main character.
It is called And Company.
Yep, and company. I did also see in the article I read they were like probably the most famous thing from Oliver Twist is when he asks if he can have some more. And you can see in the scene where the like little girl is like feeding him, she just gives him more. Just like after feeding him some, he doesn't even have to ask. She just gives it to him.
Some wish fulfillment for Oliver right there. Yeah, I mean, I guess I even like if you were to tell me this is a Charles Dickens adaptation, I probably would like, it's a very loose adaptation. A lot of it is just like scenes together, stitched together, really fast paced. Nothing, it's really, it doesn't feel faithful even without reading it.
Yeah,
and
it's an homage to Dickens more than an adaptation, I would say.
Yeah, and really
from what I was reading about the comparisons.
Yeah. Welcome to Not Just Any Book Club, where we read about books instead of actually read them.
Don't worry, we actually read 2 Dickens books for next week. Don't worry, come back for that one.
Yeah, the thing is, just like the only conflict in this movie, besides Dodger trying to get Oliver back, is just like between Fagin and Sykes, and that's very divorced from the actual movie because it's at the beginning and it's kind of at the end. It just shows up.
Well, here's what.
Again, it's not the focus. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my detraction from that is that it's background for the animals is the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I mean, like Oliver gets lost and that is their focus because he's in the gang and they need to save him. Whereas like they have a few days left to fix that other problem and then it gets pushed up because the guy comes up with that whole plan of like selling Oliver back to the family.
Yeah. I don't know. It is true that it's just really, it's not the focus. Fagin Sykes' conflict. Even though I did kind of, the one compliment I'll give this movie is just how dark it kind of went with Fagin and Sykes, because Sykes, he does not mess around. He has got 2 dogs that are very spooky for a kids film, very intimidating, and I also love his death scene.
He dies. Man dies in a Disney movie. Man and 2 dogs die in a Disney movie.
It was hardcore. I was like, what? Yeah, tries to kill a child, kidnap, and possibly use a child for ransom. And then 2 dogs, they get thrown onto a railing and they just die. And Sykes gets blown up.
Gets hit by a train and blown up. Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
The other thing that I would give them props for is Fagin himself. Again, we haven't read the book, but from what I read about the book, Fagin in the book is a lot more black and white than Fagin in the movie. I mean, Fagin, he does some bad things in the movie, but in the end, we're supposed to root for him. It's a little more gray. Like we're supposed to like Fagin.
Yeah, from that one scene that they give of character development, or really 2.
Well, the scene in the beginning and the scene in the end,
where he says, "Hey, I don't want to put a child up for ransom. Never mind."
So we're supposed to. No, his plan is not to put the child up for ransom.
Yeah, but it was
to ransom the cat.
The cat.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. But like we see him in the beginning taking care of his family, taking care of his gang. They're all together. He's like the head honcho. All the dogs love him. He's likable, I think. And then, the whole cat thing happens, and we're supposed to be like, no, Fagin, no,
Don't do it.
don't do that. And then he doesn't do it. And we're supposed to be like, sweet. He's
Cool.
learned. He's not a bad dude after all. And then he has to go save a girl from being ransomed. Yeah. But he does it
He does it.
without even thinking about it. He's like, he's going.
Yeah. And
So
somehow the girl, I sidetrack, but like somehow the little girl Jenny. We've forgotten to mention
mhm.
Jenny because Jenny has no character, but whatever. Um,
Yeah, she's just supposed to be a stand-in for like familial love or something.
yeah, it doesn't matter. She somehow just knows. She somehow knows Fagin's name and calls out for him during the train sequence. Never says his name beforehand. So minor little plot hole. This movie is entirely ruined. But yeah. The other thing yeah, another thing I really don't like about this movie. I know we're just jumping back and forth with positives and negatives, but I wrote down a list because I tried to find criticisms of this movie. Something just give some weight to this discussion. Um, the animation in this movie is very subpar, even for its time. This was made during the Disney Dark Ages, or at least at the very cusp of the Renaissance. So ugh. It was the first.
I
Well,
I actually thought the animation was decent. I enjoyed it. It felt of a very specific style to me, even if the quality of the animation was like might not have been to par.
yeah. I did look up some stuff about this. The backgrounds were very like akin to like 101 Dalmatians with the Xerox, like kind of like water colored or maybe or something like that. But the thing is, the characters, like the dogs and even the people, is they're drawn by entirely different like animation rules. So there's a very very distinct mismatch between the two art styles, and it just looks very gangly and ugly, in my opinion. I don't think that was a good decision at all, and perhaps it was distracting, and I just think it made the movie look a little bit worse. Sykes was supposed to be this mysterious villain, but like his movement and design just made him seem lumbering and didn't really make him seem threatening. Maybe up until the end. Um, his dogs were threatening though, but we never don't really get a chance to see them. Plus, there's a not a big animation error, but there's a slight animation error with Oliver scratching one of the Doberman's noses, and that scratch doesn't appear up later on. What was up with that? Come on, animators, you should have fixed that in the remaster. Um, yeah, and the facial expressions outside of Fagin, they were not really distinct. Dodger doesn't have any facial expressions that make it seem like, oh man, this is such a Dodger expression. Because in the rules of animation, you would want
Dodger wears sunglasses, okay? That's his expression. When he's not wearing sunglasses, and then
he's
he gets
unrecognizable.
sunglasses. he's like
He's
he's
like
like
Superman.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. That is my spiel about the animation. Just not, in my opinion, not very up to par unless you're like kind of detail oriented about this stuff. Like I guess like I am, because I knew there was something up. It was like this does not look right. The backgrounds in the foreground. What is up with that? And that's why. I don't have the source on that, but if you look at it, it does kind of look kind of obvious with the semi-realistic backgrounds and the cartoony animals. Um, Fagin
What
is
I
just drawn to be very gangly. Sorry.
what I thought was decent movie. It was decent, worth one watch if you worth one watch if you like Disney movies. That's my opinion.
I will say that this movie has a very interesting place in Disney history. It was kind of like the first film to use CGI in animation, and you do see like like little stints of that, like in the montage scene, and I think even in some of some other scene, there was another scene that they. Oh no, it was when they went down the stairs. that distinctly used CGI. I remember that, and that set the stage for what is it, Beauty and the Beast in the ballroom scene. Um, not done entirely CGI, but it kind of marries the two, hand drawn and some CGI animation to augment the experience, which I found very neat. Uh, and it also, since this movie was a success at the box office, it made Disney more likely to do more animated musicals, which kind of set the stage for The Lion King. And I forgot what the first movie was of the Disney Renaissance, because
The Little
the movie,
Mermaid.
yep, that that made them want to do more Broadway style musicals, because this is kind of set like a Broadway style musical, not the songs itself, but the structure. Um, so you get the reprise and then like the ending repeats the same song at the beginning. Um, yeah, and then they want to do more musicals because of this. Um, so that's nice. It was also there's another thing about this movie, which I oh yeah, this movie was released around the same time as Land Before Time. It beat Land Before Time, but really kind of remember Land Before Time a little bit more than this movie. So there's that too. Also, the first movie to use McDonald's tie-in marketing. So you can thank this movie for that. And
Well,
James Mangold.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. The Land Before Time was like a whole franchise.
Yeah. But
So,
the
like, of
first,
course, you remember The Land Before Time. Oh, you mean specifically the movie? I was
yeah.
just saying, like, of course, Land Before Time is going to be more remembered than this movie because it's like it was like a franchise of
Well,
things.
I know they made I think over 10 sequels to The Land Before Time. They all went straight to DVD, and I don't think they're very well remembered.
Well, they
But
had a TV show
oh, there
that's
was a TV
remembered.
show.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong about that, but
Yeah.
I remember watching a lot of Land Before Time on TV.
It is actually a very interesting movie. Not mainly because Don Bluth separated himself from Disney. He used to work for Disney, and then he formed his own company. And I think this was one of the first times, I think maybe the first time, where he released a movie and it had to compete with a rival company, Disney. So with his former company that he worked with. Don Bluth isn't as remembered today. He did All Dogs Go to Heaven and American Tail, which I think is an underrated, underappreciated film. But it was like the DreamWorks and Pixar of the day, I guess. Maybe Illumination is somewhere in there as well in that
Of
conversation. I don't know.
The funny thing is, I always hear about Disney Dark Age and whatever, but I actually like two of. I haven't seen the other two, but I liked Oliver and Twist. I thought it was okay. I
Oliver and Twist.
remember when I was
Company, sorry.
Oliver and Company. Yeah,
Sorry.
Oliver Twist. And I remember liking Fox and the Hound when I was younger. Actually, I now I may watch it now. I may watch it again with a more active eye and see that it's
Don't ruin it for yourself.
actual garbage, but I won't ruin it for myself. Until maybe I have a kid and try and show it to it, and then I'm like, wow, that was bad movie. but
Yeah,
for now, the memory remains untarnished.
and keep it that way.
Also,
Well,
Brother Bear. Sorry, I'm looking at the eras. Brother Bear. What a good movie. Anyways, also, before we finish up, do you have anything else you want to say about Oliver and Company?
I don't think so. It's we have very different, not very different opinions. I just thought it was
No,
worse.
my opinion was that it was okay, and yours was
Lukewarm.
that it was like bad, like slightly
Yeah.
bad, basically. Kind of boring was your opinion, and mine was
Yes.
that it was fine. Before we finish, since we're talking about Disney this month, one thing that I need to reveal for for all of our fans and listeners is that
Oh.
this guy over
Oh
here
no.
he doesn't think that The Lion King is the masterpiece that everyone else thinks it is. He gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something.
Oh no. I guess everything I've said in this episode, just like completely disregard it.
Because this guy hates The Lion King. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Maybe I'll watch it again now just to spite you. Um, maybe I'll watch it again, and maybe this episode will be outdated because maybe I'll like The Lion King even more.
Yeah, maybe you'll rewatch The Lion King and realize that everyone else is right and you are wrong, and it is a masterpiece, and it is Disney's best film.
Uh, sure, maybe.
That's
I,
my opinion.
yeah. Also, we both hate Disney as a company. Disney, please stop buying all our
Disney,
properties.
Disney, fix yourself, please, God. Don't. You're Nintendo, but for movies and now TV, I guess. So stop it.
Probably theme parks. I don't know.
And also theme parks, yeah.
Maybe
Well, Nintendo also has. They don't have a theme
Nintendo
park,
Land,
but
but
they
that's
have a.
Universal. No, they're
Yeah.
Universal.
Well, it's in Universal, but it's also like Nintendo's heavily involved. I'm sure it's got some bad stuff about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Uh, we like your movies, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, like, couldn't, yeah, Star Wars, nah. But you know,
oh my God!
you're a shady company.
Actually, this is the perfect thing to talk about The Lion King for. I was looking up on Wikipedia something about The Lion King's theatrical release because I remember it being that The Lion King was not expected to be anything. Like they didn't think it was going to be
Was it
like a
the
big
Punishment
deal.
movie? Or,
What?
never mind. I'm
They
thinking
just didn't think it was going to be a big deal.
sleeper hit.
Yeah. But I just read development of The Lion King began in 1988 during a meeting between some different names while promoting Oliver and Company in Europe. That's funny.
Oh,
what a funny coincidence.
well, TLDL, Oliver and Company. It's lukewarm at best, mediocre at worst, mediocre to bad at worst, and it has had some ramifications to Disney's history. I may not like it, but now we can't remove this movie from history. Otherwise, it's going to have a butterfly effect and completely cause Disney to fold over.
Oh.
What would happen if this movie never existed? James Mangold, he wrote this movie. He helped write this movie. We would not have Logan if it wasn't for him. So, the writer of Logan, or the director of Logan, I think, worked on this movie. So, good for him.
Yep. Good for him.
Yeah, but a Dickensian episode this was.
Oh yeah, just to finish my I feel like I have to explain the Lion King thing I said. The Lion King's release in the US was a limited release. It played in only 2 theaters.
Wow, that is a
Yep. The wide release followed on June 24th, in 2000 screens. It followed it was like a full week later. Jesus. So it's a long time for a wide release. No? Am I wrong? I just remember hearing that they did not think that it was going to be like huge. I'm trying to figure out why or where I possibly could have seen that. Anyways,
yeah. What a movie. This was.
Yep.
Are we closing this off?
Yes. You can find us on Twitter at Not Just Any Pod, where you'll find information on this show as well as one about tabletop RPGs if you're interested in that. Please give us a like, a rating, whatever it is on whatever platform. We appreciate it, especially if it's good. Yeah. Am I forgetting something? Oh, join us next week for Dickens, and then we'll announce the following month next week. So tune in for that.
Goodbye, Prometheus.